Welcome to Women's Wealth, the podcast with me, Joanne. My mission is to educate, inspire, and empower you all to step into your own life of wealth. That feeling of being so rich in your mind, body, and soul. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's get straight into it. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Women's Wealth podcast. My name is Joanne, your host. And I know I always start my episodes like this, but thank you so much for joining me. I'm so grateful. And we're on the road to 10,000 downloads. So please keep downloading, subscribe. And remember, you can watch also over on YouTube, which leads me nicely to then you'll be able to see my beautiful guest that I have sat virtually in front of me today. And this is a lady who, again, with all my guests, giving women a space to share their expertise, their stories, to help lift other women up. And that's exactly why I do this. And I know that my guest has a very similar vision. And I have Libby with me today. I'm going to pass over to you, Libby. You can share a little bit about your background, and then we'll just get straight into it today. So thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Joanne. It's so nice to be here. I feel really privileged to have this space connecting with your community. So I'm Libby. I am Australian. I am a mum. I have 2 children. I live here in Dubai, in beautiful sunny Dubai. And I am a counsellor, and I'm a very passionate wellness advocate as well. I've been working in the health and wellness industry, oh my gosh, for like 16 years now, 17 years. And it's taken me from Australia to Spain to Dubai and around the world basically. And throughout all of that, I've held such firm belief in helping women in particular, and in more recent times my niche is mums find the inner strength and power and have the tools and strategies to help them to reclaim their well-being and to focus on how they can improve their lives so they live richer, more meaningful, abundant lives. So I love what I do, and I feel very privileged that I'm in this space of helping people.
Wow. And was it your own journey to motherhood into motherhood that sort of opened you up to working with more so mothers than women? Yeah. And was there something
Absolutely.
Was there something that happened? Or did you just find that you naturally, through experience of motherhood, felt drawn to help mothers?
Yeah. So obviously my passion for mums came after I became a mum. And I think my background in mental health and knowing how to support individuals in general with their mindset, their moods, their behaviors, making positive change, I think that helped me in my journey becoming a mum. And then it made me feel sort of this desire. I had like this magnet energy to lend, this support to the mum community, because becoming a mum is so hard. It is so magical. It is the most incredible thing that can ever happen to a woman in my eyes and in many women's eyes, but it is hard. And so many mums struggle. Far too many mums struggle. And I was reading a recent statistic, and it's 7 in 10 women after becoming a mum hide their symptoms of postnatal depression, postnatal anxiety, baby blues, isolation, overwhelm. They hide it. And it's so sad because so many women are struggling on their own in isolation for many different reasons. And I want to just be able to be that one person to help guide, support, listen, nurture, or care for a mum and empower her to find the tools within to support her in that journey.
Wow. And I know you said there's various reasons why they hide it. Does that come a lot from pressure and I know, obviously, again, not speaking from a mother's point of view, but from a woman's point of view, this pressure I feel that we have as women to get things right, look a certain way, be a certain way, talk a certain way, all of those things. And I'm guessing when you have a baby that comes along, you have that and then some. Do you find that it's society, family, in-laws, does it kind of all? This is just hypothetically speaking.
Yes, yes, in-laws are a factor, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right, Joanne. It's a lot of societal pressure. It's a lot of unfortunately, social media is a huge catalyst in making a mum, particularly a new mum who is in that real vulnerable phase of her life, adapting to this new responsibility. Because of course everyone posts all the really great stuff that's happening in their life, and even if they're sort of crumbling down the floor, they'll sort of put a bit of makeup on, hold their baby, snap a photo, and just pretend that everything is fine. So there's a lot of societal pressure. Social media adds to that, but as well a lot of the stuff internally. So mums, as you said, or women in particular, they feel this sense or this heaviness or this pressure to do it all, to manage it all, to not ask for help, because asking for help for some reason, for some women, seems to be a sign of weakness. So they just feel like they just should be able to do it all because they see other women kind of doing it. And they think, well, if she can do it, so what's wrong with me? So let me not pretend that I'm sort of falling apart here. Let me just, assume that I can do it all. And at my own mental and physical, emotional well-being, that's going to take a toll at that expense.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Before I was listening to a really good book. What was it called? Sorcery. It's a witchy book. But she actually speaks in the book about, so hundreds of years ago we would have had, as women, when we have our first period, when we reach maiden and we bleed, it would have been a celebration. It would have been something that was like honored, and it's like, wow, you're reaching this stage of your life, you have your bleed and you have all of this to come. And then as we get older, we have our what's next. That's where I'm going. I was thinking, where am I going? I forgot what I was talking about for a second. And then you have the mother, so maiden, mother, crone. So if you do become a mother again, and it was really interesting when I was listening, because I was like, oh my God, yes. So again, it would have been a celebration of becoming a mother, and it would have been the mother that was celebrated. Now, I'm invited to a baby shower, and I've been to baby showers, and it's not necessarily the mother there that is celebrated. It's all about the baby, and I know that the baby's a special thing, but over the years, and this is what she was talking about in the book, that the magic and like, wow, this woman has created a life, and then this woman has to step into this brand new role that she's not been prepared for. Like, there's no handbook, the same as when we start our period, there's no handbook. But that celebration of motherhood and then the support system around the mother has slowly disappeared over the years. And this is what she was discussing in the book, and I was like, I've never actually thought of that. You go to these baby showers, you're buying presents for the baby, it's all about, baby sniffing the nappies with chocolate and things on you, that kind of thing, and it's fun. But I've never been to one where we honour the mother.
No.
And I think, and then once the baby's kind of like, oh, we'll step away now because she's had the baby. But this book was really interesting, and it spoke about that it used to be the opposite. The baby was kind of the thing that came along, but the motherhood was the celebration. I went on a tangent there, but do you think, as a mother, if we sort of went back to our roots that way, how would that affect, stepping into the motherhood role? If it was, I'm going to use the word worshipped. If it was worshipped, what do you think would happen?
We would feel like that we are a part of something. We would feel that sense of community. We would feel that sense of belonging. We would feel like we're in this space of no judgment. We would feel open to be vulnerable. We would feel uplifted because we've got these beautiful women surrounding us that are in our corner, knowing that we can rely on them if we need to. It's so interesting that you said that, Joanne, because I was at an event, I think it was sort of September, October last year. And it was this like pregnancy event, right, here in Dubai. And it was so exciting and it's really nice. And I was there like promoting pocket wellness, and I was the only mental health well-being person there. Everything else was about the pram, the diapers, the right lotion to buy, which nappy bag to get, how to set up the nursery, all that stuff. And sure, like that's important, yeah, but what about building the foundation for a mother's mental health? She's about to go through the most transformational period of her life, and there is no talk about her mental health. There is no focus on her well-being. It's just pressure to get everything set up and right for the baby. And that's how she's entering her motherhood stage.
Yeah.
And then as you said, she becomes a mum. People are all excited about seeing the baby. So they come over and they see the baby and they hold the baby and they give the baby a present again. But who's holding the mum? Who's getting a cup of tea for the mum? Who's cuddling the mum? Who's telling the mum to go and have an hour to herself? That doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
And so this is where we see such struggle for these new mums, you know, because they've started without really much of a foundation in terms of how can I equip myself from a mental health well-being perspective to ensure that I've got the mindset, the self-love, the compassion, the mindset of I give myself permission to prioritize myself. Yeah, we're not focusing on that. And so she becomes a mum, and of course to go and to switch gears entirely and to start thinking about her mental health at that stage, like she's already sort of a little bit behind. It's not impossible, but it's a lot harder. So this is what I'm really trying to do here. I'm really trying to talk with pregnant mums and talk with new mums and really get them to sort of shift their mindset and open up their own hearts, to give themselves permission to not get it right, to make mistakes, to be self-loving, to ask for help, to know that there's not just one way to be a mum. There's a million different ways. You know, this is what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
And I think even just as you were talking then, like it's a job forever, because even as an adult, like I was at home last week with my mum and I feel like nothing has changed. I don't know if it's the same for you when you go back, but I step back into 15-year-old sat on the sofa, mum's in, you know, do you want gravy? Do you want salt? Like shouting out, and I'm just, yeah, you know, put your washing in the washing machine, reverting completely back. And the mum role isn't, you know, new mums, toddlers, it's 30s, 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So getting mums prepared mentally at the very beginning for you know everything that's to come, and teaching them ways to put themselves first, because as you were talking then I was like, oh god, I did do the dishes once when I was there. Sorry mom. But just preparing, because it's a lifetime role as a mother, and again it's not, you know, we don't talk about this. I know, you know, and I just reflection for myself as a non-parent, but friends who've had babies, and it is kind of, you go and see the baby and a little bit feels like, right, they just had a baby, so they're, you know, step back a little bit because they're going to be busy, and kind of probably need to do the opposite. So as someone who is surrounded by people with children, from my point of view, just from what you've said, just making a bit more of an effort to say, are you okay? Do you want me to do anything for you, rather than, oh, I'll come and see the baby, and then, you know, I'll come and see the baby, and I think just a reflection on myself there. And if anyone's listening, I'm guessing we're all guilty of it, because we don't have we're not told like how to support and, you know, support your friends when they become mothers. Where do you think the shift, or where do you think, obviously you're one person and where do you think it goes wrong then with, you know, is it GPs, midwives? Where's the very start as a mother that there needs to be some kind of switch to help them with their mental health, to support their mental health there?
Yeah. I think it comes like I'm just sort of reflecting on my journey as well. You know, you find out you're pregnant, you weigh on a stick, then you go to the doctor for your blood test to confirm. And you're right, it's from the start. It's just like the focus is medical. So make
Yeah.
sure that your physical, medical, body, your physical being as well. And then you sort of just switch into getting the rest of your life prepared for a baby, as opposed to preparing your inner house, your body, your mind,
Yeah.
your soul, your emotions, your psychological well-being for a baby. So it's from the very start. And I think having more education from the start, from the start of pregnancy around the importance of mental health. I mean, I think there's like a screening for, depression or significant mood disorder, but maybe that's only if it's pre-existing, not if it's something that may happen sort of like during your pregnancy as well, because, hormones, body, image, identity, everything sort of changes as soon as you become pregnant. So I think it's from the start. The education needs to change a little bit to include the component of mental health.
Yeah. And even just the things that you've listed there, and I know like body image, and I'm sure
Huge.
friend won't share in their story, but I think she may be 7 months. It's the one that has a baby shower coming up. And she sent me a voice note, and maybe March time, if I get the dates right. And she was really not crying upset, but not enjoying her body anymore. And she was like, I just feel fat, and I've got this fat, and
Yeah.
and I was obviously guiding her through this. And well, if you didn't put weight on, then you break. You're carrying a human, and you need to even it out, and it's going to be fine, and it's going to go. But even when you just said that having someone there to say, right, you're putting this amount of weight on. And I know women have apps, and it sort of says, eat this amount of food. But I think straight away there, that had obviously affected her mental health enough so to message me to sort of look for reassurance and some kind words of it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to happen. And obviously her emotions there, she's not the usual type to send that kind of message. So even then it was like, gosh, she's really upset here. She's sent me this voice note, and she's really worried about her back fat. It's not back fat. Having that little bit of a support system from the start to teach women, because again, we don't know. It's through apps, buying a book, and that's it. You kind of, from other friends I know, my sister, kind of teach yourself, don't you? And then you learn from other mums if they just happen to say, oh, this happened to me. And what about, again, from a non-mother's point of view, and this is I've never actually asked this, but is there like support other than the midwife preparing you mentally and emotionally for the actual birth? Because that is terrifying for someone that's never.
Yes and no, I guess, would be my answer. Probably more typically no. I mean, if you want to go down that path yourself, if you're someone who is a little bit sort of more spiritual, or invested in their mental well-being, then I mean, there's hypnobirthing courses and things like this that go a little bit more into how you can tune into sort of mindfulness-based practices to support you during labor and delivery. But I mean, a lot of people don't do that. And so if they don't do that, then no, they're just told about the medical options like epidural, for example, to support them during that phase. And
Once obviously, even just peeing on the stick, like I've had scares before, and it's why it's called a pregnancy scare, because it's bloody scary.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Mm-hmm.
when this is not on my plan right now. So once the baby arrives, first of all, when do, from the women that you've worked with, the first signs and symptoms of sort of postnatal depression, how long is there, like a time scale, or is it different for every woman?
It's different for every woman, and I guess the reason why that may be is obviously hormonal changes as well. But I guess how well women are looking after their own mental health. So if someone is completely neglecting their mental health, or they're too overconsumed with that role of motherhood, maybe they don't have the social support, maybe they don't have the socioeconomic background to help them with some of the stuff like getting a cleaner or doing like a food delivery service, things like this, then the latter, her signs and symptoms of postnatal depression or anxiety will come a lot sooner. Yeah. Where it could be in the first couple of weeks after having a baby. For some women, I know my cousin, as soon as she had the baby, there was no depression in her family history or her personal life. And even after her baby came, within a day or two, she noticed that something was different, but wasn't sure as to sort of why. She didn't want to hold her baby. When the baby was trying to latch on her, it felt really unnatural. So for her, that was obviously a really quick look into, okay, something's not quite right here. So yeah, it can be quite early on in those days, but it actually can happen sort of up to 12 months post delivery. So yeah, so there's a whole different sort of spectrum, and I guess it comes down to, I guess, that the woman's own mental health in terms of, is she making space for herself? Is she managing her overwhelm? Is she managing those moments of panic or anxiety? What tools and systems does she have in place to support her? Is she sleeping? Is she trying to get rest? Because obviously, you know what it's like to be completely fatigued in life after a baby. The fatigue is like nothing else. And of course, that contributes to poor mental health. And then I guess that sense of community. So knowing that she can ask for help, someone can come over and support her, someone can take the baby, someone can sit and talk with her over a cup of tea about how she's really feeling. Sometimes just opening up and having your feelings validated as a mum, because if what she's seeing on social media is that being a mum is awesome, I go out, I have my matcha latte, I go for my 6K walk, I come home, I make my beautiful green salad, baby's sleeping, perfect life. That mum is going to feel obviously a lot worse and think, well, hang on, she has it together. All these other mums have it together. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Right.
Gosh.
So if we can have that sort of that platform where a mum can have her feelings, her experiences, and her emotions validated and normalized, because being a mum is hard. It's not easy at every stage. A couple of months, things were going really well, and then boom, developmental stage, milestone reached, new level, new devil, right? So there's always new challenges that come up. Okay, so to have your feelings, experiences, and emotions validated by someone else or by another mum helps significantly in terms of, a mum's mental health.
Yeah. So I feel like it does need to go back to the days when women did gather, and the mothers gathered together, and it was a whole, obviously we don't live in little villages anymore, but finding your village, finding the people around you that can support and that you feel open with. And I feel from the medical side, they need to create some kind of village that's sort of non-compulsory, that you've peed on the stick, you're pregnant, he's a midwife, he's your GP, and he's your village of people that are going to be here alongside you. And I think that from everything you've said should be something that is just standard. It goes along with the whole package, especially somewhere in Dubai where everything is private healthcare. Put it in the package. It needs to be part of the package. And in the UK, I'm not sure, is Australia private healthcare as well, is it?
We have both. We have the option to go public or private. Yeah.
Okay. And again, just having that, not even as an add-on, as a non-negotiable, here you are, this is part of what you need to do. I did have another
absolutely
for women who, I'm guessing it would just be called depression. I don't know if this is a silly question. So with those 12 months postnatal depression, if it's after, and there's people listening to this with younger children, you know, toddlers, even age 5, 6, and they're then feeling that, you know, they've gone through the baby stages and the baby's growing, but they're still not, or it comes on later, would that be classed? You know, how's that dealt with? Because I know that, you know, it's not just a baby thing. Like we said, mums are on all of the time. So what about the mums
Yeah.
with the older toddlers, children, even?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really interesting question, because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it's two mums that run the podcast, or host the podcast, sorry. And they have, you know, 6, 7, 9, and 10-year-olds. And they were like, the postpartum journey never ends. Like, I don't know why we have to put like a number on it, that it's, yeah, it's 12 months, it's 1 year, and then whoop, I'm out of my postpartum. So I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical expert, so I can't sort of comment on that. Um, but I would say, I mean, I believe that the postpartum journey does extend beyond that 12 months, because your baby is so little then. For a lot of babies, they're not even walking still at 12 months, you know, and it's this blob, this little thing that needs it needs your 110% love, care, and attention. So the challenges from that little age are still really complex. You know, you're navigating, you know, teething, you're navigating food, you're navigating choking, and all these different aspects as well. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to put a number on it, but unfortunately, you know, they do in the medical field. But I would say that the journey of postpartum mental health struggles for a mum, yeah, it definitely continues beyond that 12 months. Maybe it's classified just as depression or low mood or mood difficulty or disorder, okay? But yeah, I definitely feel like it extends beyond there.
And just reflecting, just thinking, you know, a lot of women who suffer with depression, it could be like the postnatal, you
Yeah,
know, but
yeah,
there's probably a lack, as in many places in the medical world. Again, I have not looked into this myself, so this is just maybe a conspiracy. I don't know, but you know, like with women, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen like the heart attack data, and you know, heard the heart attack drugs. So it's all based on men. So which is why when a woman has a heart attack, the treatment, the medical advice is all based on a male heart attack, because obviously they don't want to test on women because we don't have the same hormone cycles, and it costs way too much money, and they can't test on pregnant women. And I'm guessing with postnatal and, you know, mothers, it's probably a huge gap, a huge discrepancy in them looking at data of women's mental health, because of those reasons. You know, the gender data that they don't, you know, it's kind of like, okay, 12 months is postnatal depression. After that, off you go on your own, you know, and then you're just a depressed woman, I guess, or a
yeah,
depressed mother, without having the sort of ladder going up to, you know, are we looking after our mothers in the world?
mm,
Are we
mm,
supporting mothers, you know?
mm.
Um, yeah, sorry, that just came to my head as we
No,
were
but that's, yeah,
really
no, that's interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
It's and Joanne, the stat at the moment, I believe, is 1 in 5. 1 in 5 mums experience postnatal depression or anxiety. But how much do we talk about that?
yeah,
How much do other mums know about that? And I mean, it comes as well, like sort of tied into like miscarriage as well. So many women miscarriage, but there's still, for some reason, and in many parts of the world, there's so much shame,
yeah.
or you know, it's taboo. There's so much shame around having miscarriage, and you know, women are just expected to just bounce back from an experience like that. I mean, your body is already changing at that stage. Your hormones have already, you know, come into play and affecting every part of your being. And
Yeah.
you miscarried, you can't talk about it, or you feel shame when you do talk about it. I mean, you know, I've seen a lot of women in my corporate job who have, you know, unfortunately suffered miscarriage, some, you know, 3, 4, 5 times, and their mental health is so vulnerable, you know, and the lack of support they have from their friends, because they feel like it's not a safe space to talk about that sort of experience, and then they don't want to burden their husband because their husband sort of looks like they appear that they're fine and they've moved on and they're back into work and the routine and the swing of things, and they're suffering sort of alone with this huge grief journey essentially that they're going through.
And do a lot of women who have miscarriages, I'm guessing, like my first thought would be, it's my body, it's not working, it's their fault. You know,
Yep.
even if there could be an array of reasons why, like obviously, but again, these things
Yep.
are not told that, you know, is it 70% of pregnancies, or is it only 70% of pregnancies actually make it, you know, in the days? Yeah. So if you happen to do your pregnancy test and it shows up, then, you know, another woman may not do the test and has no idea. But even still, just that education of, you know, when it's, I had one of my best friends had a miscarriage, and she was very early, and she did say that, oh, I wish I'd not done the test, but no one said like, wait, because she was eager, excited, they were trying for a baby. And obviously then they go through the miscarriage, you know, and it's just, and then dealing with that, and it is grieving over something that, you know, how do you grieve over something that you haven't had? And it's, you know, people don't, again, teach you that and sit you down, and people misunderstanding from onlookers as well, like, oh, okay, that happened, but, you know, oh, try again. Like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? I'm just sort of reflecting as well. A friend of mine, she had 2 miscarriages, and she held that first one private. And then a couple of years later, when she had her second one, unfortunately, she then sort of opened up to us. And within our immediate friendship group, she then discovered that 2 other of our friends had also had a miscarriage. And we were none the wiser. And we're like a close group of friends as well. So, you know, I guess it comes back to your sort of first comment around sort of that sense of motherhood and tribe. Back in the day, of course, they would be surrounding that mother with love, care, compassion, you know, to get through that sort of journey. Whereas now women are kind of having to navigate that on their own. But, you know, the more that women open up and the more that women talk about these things, you know, instantly they feel that sense of connection, belonging. They feel their experience, their emotions, their feelings validated. And they know, especially if they reach out for professional help, you know, they know it's not their fault. As you said before, you know, you would sort of go into that sort of space of what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my body? I can't even make a baby, you know, I'm hopeless, I'm worthless. And then that sort of spiral of mental health, you know, starts. So having that support, if you've been through something like that, so if any of your listeners, you know, can sort of resonate with this part of their journey to becoming a mum, or maybe they're going through this challenge now, my advice to you would be reach out and get support, or find your VIP, find your tribes, and talk with them about your experience and what's going on. Because I can almost guarantee that someone in your immediate friendship group has also been through something similar. And knowing that you've got the love and care and support from your community will do wonders for your mental health.
I think it just shows, and I said this, I held a sister circle when I was in the UK last week, and just the power of women. And one of my friends actually came and joined the circle, and afterwards she did say that, isn't it funny that when we go around the circle and we share, everything that someone says you can either resonate with for right now, or you've been through that at some point. And this was a group of women ranging from 35, and I think there's a lady in there that must have been in her 60s. So there was 30 years worth of, you know, experience, different ages. As we went around and shared, every single woman was be able to offer advice, share something, able to resonate. And my friend picked up on it, and I explained to her, I was like, that's what it's like every time. There's always, you can see yourself in every single woman. So as a mother, speak to other mothers, because you will see yourself in every single mother, guaranteed, because it's we're all living it together. We're just missing that link with each other at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of sharing.
Yeah. I hosted speaking of sort of women's circles, I hosted a mum circle, maybe that sort of a month or two ago, obviously here in Dubai. And I used my affirmation cards as a way to sort of open up the dialogue amongst the mums. And so we all just sort of picked a card at random and sort of read it out and just allowed the conversation to flow. And exactly what you just said before, every experience that came out from a mum, absolutely every other mum in that circle could vouch for, yes, like I went through days where I felt like I was a shit mum. I went through days where I just couldn't get out of my pajamas and the overwhelm was just so much. I've had moments doubting myself. I've had many days, weeks, months where I felt like a bad mum, and that inner critic, that inner dialogue. And it was just so beneficial for them to see that this is not, I mean, they're not special, they're not unique, because every mum has a hard time. And to have that experience validated and normalized, and then sort of that sort of shared, again, that shared community. And then we sort of ended up sort of laughing and hugging and embracing, because it's that sense of relief that, you know what, I am a good mum, and just, sometimes I don't get it right, and that's all right. That's fine. That's part of me discovering, or continue to discover, my role and my purpose and my identity as a mum, because that's lost.
Exactly, it is, and it's so. And I would, again, just as a woman looking in, when I hear, and I've heard my mum say it, like, oh, she's asked as an adult, like, oh, when we were younger, she felt like X, Y, and Z. And like now, my mum, everything you've ever done for me. And, really, and think of your own mothers. And when people are like, oh, I'm a bad mum, your children will never, ever look at you, unless obviously there will be certain situations. But generalizing, it's again that pressure your mum is putting on you, or putting on yourself to fit this. Whereas your children are looking up at you thinking, oh my God, she's amazing. Because I've never.
You're the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
Your child thinks you are particularly a mum in those first few years, your children think you are the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
And so I often say to mums, like, pretend that your little baby can talk, if it's not at an age where it can communicate. What would your baby say about you? What are 3 things that your baby would say about you? They would say that you're safety. They would say that you are loving. They would say that you are nurturing. They would say that you are self-sacrificing. They would say that you're attentive, that you're silly, that you're funny. Like, you have a million jobs as a mum. They would say all those things. And then I encourage the mum to sort of bring that affirmation back and sit with it for a moment and sort of realize what it is to be a mum and how much her baby loves her. And can she, in that moment, give herself that same love and kindness?
That is so true. And again, if we all think of our own mums, that's exactly how your children are thinking about you. Because I've had that conversation with my mum. She was worried about something, I don't know. She was single, and she was worried about money as we were growing up. And I've had to reassure her. Even now, like, Mum, I never wanted for anything. I didn't, stop worrying. And this is all of these years later. When she's saying, I was really worried about this, and it's still on my mind. Oh my God. So like we've said, the mum journey does not end, but reminding yourself, you go, how amazing you are. The job that you're doing, like you've said, so many hats, nurturing, creating, clown.
Yeah. And that's where, the mental load of motherhood comes into play as well. I mean, I don't even know if dads know what mental load is. And I'm sorry if you have any listeners here who are dads and are offended by that comment. But the mental loads, that list of like 110 different things that we have in our heads 24/7 as a mum, this is something that a lot of mums really, really struggle with. because again, come from a sort of a self-care, self-compassion perspective, they feel like that they can't delegate, distribute, cut off some of those responsibilities, because then it ties into the fact that, well, other mums are doing it all. Why can't I? I'm a bad mum if I can't manage this, or I can't possibly ask for help because I should be able to do it all. So the mental load of motherhood, and as you sort of just mentioned with your mum as well, like it's that you're constantly thinking and worrying about your children and making sure that their every need is met. And then you're managing the household, and then you're managing your work, and then you're managing your side hustle, and then you're managing your partner or your husband or your wife's relationship. And then you're also the person responsible for all of the emotions in the house. So you're making sure that you're having to check in with everyone to see how they're all doing. And then, it's Tommy's dentist appointment's coming up, so I've got to make sure I book that. And then, the travel insurance has lapsed, or the health insurance. Oh yeah, we've got to take the dog to the vet. Oh, the cleaner hasn't come in 2 weeks. It's just never ending. Yeah. So we just need to encourage mums to sort of just take a break. It's so much, and mums just need to understand that they aren't expected to do it all, and no mum is doing it all. And if they think that other mums are doing it all, it's a facade. Yeah. It's not true. It's social media. It's a fake sort of presentation of things. So mums, in terms, if you're listening now and you're a mum who is struggling with her mental load, please know that you're not alone. And please know there are so many things that you can do to help lighten that load. And it's okay for you to ask for help. It's okay for you to delegate. It's okay for you to get takeout once a night and not have to cook a home cooked meal every night. It's okay to do whatever works for you and your family, because there's no one way to do motherhood. All right. So if you can find ways to lighten the load and open up that communication with your partner or your tribe or your social support, that will help you to give yourself permission to let go of some of the stuff.
Yeah. Amazing. So if there's any mums, and I know there is, I think most people that are probably listening to this are a mother, where can they find you? Do you offer online as well? Because I know a lot of my listeners also in the UK. So, so where can they find you? What are you offering at the moment?
So they can find me on Instagram. My website is still sort of underway. So once that is all set up, they can then sort of head over to my website as well, where I sell affirmation cards. I've got 5 series of affirmation cards. One in particular dedicated to a new mum, and then the 4 others dedicated to women. So I've got affirmation cards around sort of setting intentions for a positive, grounded day. I've got a series dedicated to self-compassion. And I've got a series dedicated towards kids. So it's sort of empowering mums or dads or caregivers to create more mindful moments for their children. And then a new series as well that's launching around mindset. So just diving deep into sort of all things mindset, abundance, law of attraction, and how we can sort of shift all of that to sort of bring more sort of alignment and joy into our life. If you are based in Dubai, I run events, and I love collaborating with other wellness experts like yourself, Joanne, to facilitate, circles for women, circles for mums. At the moment in time, I'm not doing anything online for our international followers, but stay tuned, because this is something that and you can probably tell by how I'm talking, it just completely lights me up. And if I can hold space for a mum or a woman who is struggling with her mental health, and if I can hold that space and offer her that care and teach her different tools to support her, that just makes me so happy to be able to, be part of that woman's wellbeing journey.
Oh, I love that. And thank you so much for sharing. And I know that you will have touched a lot of people listening to this. I might make my mum listen to this one as well. I don't know if her children are all grown up now, but I might not listen to this, mum, because chill, look after yourself. Yes. You're allowed to.
Exactly.
And I will pop the link to your squeaky chair. Link to your Instagram in the show notes as well. And when your website is ready, I'll happily share that over on my page too. So thank you very much. And I know, it is Mother's Day today in US and Australia. So perfect. If you're listening to this, happy belated Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
But thank you so much. And yeah, lovely chatting to you, Libby.
Thanks, Joanne. It was a real privilege being here. Thanks again.